want to say hi to everybody? Okay. Hey everyone, hope you're well today. This of course is Willow, my little pussy cat, the owly faced cat. I just wanted to welcome you today and say that today's class is Vinyasa Level 1. And Vinyasa is just continuous breath in, breath out, synchronized with movements. And the postures themselves that we actually put ourselves into, those are important, but so are the transitions to get there. Most importantly, have fun, be safe, and just do your best, listening to your body, okay? When you're tired, rest, and when you want to pick up a cat, have a drink of water, right? But take some time for yourself, and if you can, join me today. I hope you will. Let's lay ourselves down on the mat. So if you come down onto the mat, oh Willow, stop scratching the Chesterfield, please. Silly cat. All these scratch posts, and there goes the Chesterfield. So we're going to lay ourselves down on the mat. You can see that I've brought in a couple of blocks today, and I put them at either end of the mat. If we come onto the mat, we want to make ourselves comfortable. It's always good to start your practice without just jumping into it. Instead, taking just a few moments to arrive or land on the mat. Start to set the tone. So as you come into the mat, just arrange your body into what you think is a comfortable posture. Your palms can be laying up, the arms might be wide. The only thing I might not suggest is crossing the legs. This actually puts an awful lot of pressure into that area in the sacral and hip girdle area. It's very tight already, and that's something that can cause issues with sciatica, causing tension or pressure really against that sciatic nerve. You can also put your hands resting on your belly. And take a deep breath in through the nose, big breath here. And just sigh out through an open mouth. Breathe in again. Sigh it out. And now let your breath just come and go as it pleases. And begin to notice where you feel the breath in the body. And you can have your eyes open, looking to the ceiling, or maybe gently closed to half, or closed all the way if that feels comfortable. See if when you breathe, you feel that breath traveling down into the low belly, so that the hands are somewhat lifted away from the ground, lifted up by the swelling of the belly. And as you exhale, let that body just relax, maybe a little bit more. Soften the jaw. And notice the places the body is connecting to the floor. Notice the body's weight. How it is that you've positioned your feet, and where on each heel there's a connection to the floor. Probably not quite the same spot. Relax the hips and just allow a slight external rotation if that's what they want, or a bigger external rotation. And perhaps they rest in neutrality. Let the muscles of the face relax. And then begin to notice your breath again. This is just a great time to check in with how you're feeling emotionally. You can call that your heart space or your emotional wellness space. And the reason that we connect it to breath is because our breath indicates our emotional wellness. And so you want to pay attention to that. Sometimes we have a hard time figuring out what our mood is. Maybe assigning it a color would be easier. Maybe you're feeling kind of butter yellow today, or brilliant fiery orange, or a neutral color. Maybe you're feeling just balanced and neutral. That's okay too. That's great. Whatever you're feeling, just acknowledge it. And then notice your thoughts coming and going. They tend to come so quickly, it's hard to really even become aware of what they're saying. So just notice them coming and going without trying to attach to them. Just let them come. And then maybe on the next breath, let them go. So we're not trying to make the thoughts come. We're not trying to hold them on. That's really all we're trying to do. If they come, but let them go. We don't have to hold them on. You just let them go. Then let's take a nice big breathe in here. Breathe in deeply. And as you do, we're going to stretch the arms out. Move my block just out of the way there. Stretch the arms out nice and long toward the wall closest to your head. And then as you exhale, draw the right knee into your chest and just give it a nice little hug. Feel how that helped to shift the breath out. And then we'll inhale again. Stretch that leg out, stretch the body, and as you exhale, draw the other knee, the left knee, into your chest. Just give that a little hug. Hello, knee. Good to see you today. Inhale, big stretch again. Really try and let that back arch swell the belly, swell the chest. And as you exhale, draw both knees into your chest and just give yourself a little hug, pressing the back into the floor. Notice how now the lumbar soft tissue is pressing into the floor and keeping the head and shoulders on the floor. Allow the hips to begin to tip, and then when you're ready, you're just going to roll your body into the center of the room, using the arm that's going to rest on the floor to become your pillow. My squeaky floor. No sneaking up on me here. You can then take the hand from the top shoulder and ease the body halfway up. I'll extend my leg, my top leg out, draw my elbow that was on the floor underneath my shoulder. Pause there, make sure I don't get dizzy, because I've been on my back then for a little bit. And then ease my body slowly all the way up. And just notice how I'm feeling. Just take that moment again to notice, scanning the body with love and compassion. What's going on there? If you feel some tension, some discomfort or discord, just mark it in your mind as something to be aware of and to be somewhat protective of. You don't want to push yourself through something that might cause you greater injury or harm. So we don't let our ego push us through this practice. We're listening to the body. Let's take a deep breath in and establish an intention. What do you hope to find on this practice? Whatever it is, let it speak to body, mind, and heart. It's your spirit, right? Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's openness. Maybe it's strength. All those three pieces of you. Whatever it is, let it speak to you. Then, with an inhale, sweep the hands up as though we were collecting our intention from the sky. And as we exhale, we're just going to bring that intention right down to our heart and place it in our heart space. So that if we forget what it is, or if we want to change it, we know exactly where to go to find it. It is really powered by the heart. Let's place the hands onto the mat, near the top of the mat, and we'll just bring our legs so that they're bent knee, resting onto the mat. You might want to fold your mat under your knees. And if you find that this is too much pressure on your wrist, I would suggest you maybe make fists. But even then, you'll notice as I press my fist into the ground, there's an angling that happens to get my fist to be level. Otherwise, I would just be kind of pressing into two knuckles or even one knuckle, and that wouldn't be very comfortable for me. So you're always trying to figure out what is best for your body. When you find those wrist issues, one of the most important things you can do is to push away from the ground, as opposed to settling the weight into that wrist, that elbow, and that shoulder. Instead, you want to push the back away, but keep the belly tight. Keep the back level. So we're not letting it sag right now. We're not arching the back and tucking the tailbone under. We'll do that later. Let's just begin to feel the body weight and then shift on an exhale our hips back toward the calves and then the heels. We can extend the arms out a little bit, draw the shoulders back into the shoulder girdle, broaden the space between the shoulders, and let our head come down. Begin to breathe in and out here, through the nose if possible. And then, while you're doing this, try to lift your mula bandha, which is the pelvic floor, up into the torso. It normally sits like a little shallow bowl, but we're going to try and lift it up into the torso, more dome-like, a shallow dome. And then as you do that, I want you to pull it in and then just release it. Pull it in again, release it. Do you feel your low belly wanting to help? Well, that's the Uddiyana Bandha, the transverse abdominis. Let's bring that in at the same time and then release both. Pull it in, release both. So we're going to try and keep that on now. Let's pull both in and then feel as though we're lifting it up toward the diaphragm, the separation between the rib cage, the thoracic torso, and then the lower abdomen. everything below the ribcage. Holding those bungees in. Let's draw our body forward. We're going to inhale as we come forward, and you might find that this is a little bit too short. It's a little bit too short for me. I've got my hands directly under my shoulders, but my body is not into a nice flat plank-like. It's going more into the all fours. So I'm going to walk my knees back just a little bit. As I do, I'm going to push away from my wrists and flatten out the angle of my wrists so that as I draw my hips back, they're probably not going to touch my heels at all. I might feel the tops of my calves touching into my thighs, just at the very bottom of the thighs as I bend the knee. With an inhale now, as I come forward, I should be able to lower out my hip. And in doing that, press away from the floor. Don't let the body sag. Try not to let the hips sag. If you notice that in doing this, that there is sort of a tendency to drop the hips, I want you to take all of your chaturangas for the time being, using this with the knee down. Take your chaturanga with knee down. Press back on the exhale toward the child's pose, even though our bottoms will probably be pretty high. The other approach to this is to let the hands slide back, let the hips rest, and then inhale, just walk the hands a palm or two forward so that you can come into that modified planking position to lower the body down now as we exhale. Then, with an inhale, we're not going to use our hands at all, so I'll lift them here. Tops of hands pressed into the mat. I'll draw my heart away from the floor, and this is known as a half cobra, Ardha Bhujangasana. You could have your hands resting there, but I want to be clear that I'm not using my hands at all in this lift. It's all the muscles of the torso that are really working hard, the legs, the buttocks. But as I do this, I press my pubic bone in toward the floor and scoop out my belly. All right, so there's a little, hopefully a little bit of a, you feel that pullback of the transverse abdominis. Don't let it go soft, pull that belly tight. Now, as we exhale, we're going to press the hands into the floor, lengthen the arms, letting the knees place themselves on the floor now, soften that, and lift the whole body away. As you lengthen the arms, you want to keep that body in its plank position. Then draw back toward the hips again in that child's pose. Again, you can either walk the hands back and then walk them forward, or keep the hands there and not draw back as far. Let's take an inhale again and just practice that. Big breath in. As we exhale through the nose, we lower the heart down onto the mat, begin to press the tops of the feet into the floor, cup out that belly, and then with an inhale, we can draw the heart away. So we're really working those muscles. Those muscles said Popeye said that, didn't he? As we exhale, we're going to place the hands back in, let the knees come to the floor, lengthen the arms, and lift the body away without a hinge at the hips, and then hinge at the hips. Press the body back. We're going to curl the toes under, and then lift our bottom high, coming into downward facing dog. Now, when we're downward facing, you're really trying to find this as a rest posture, though it may not feel that way the first few times you take your yoga practice. So as you do this, you want to play with the back a little bit. I am not a teacher who's ever going to say, press your heels to the ground and lock your knees. I can't remember when I've ever said lock your knees. So think of it more as a posture to find balance in. It's a great place to locate your pelvic floor and belly muscles, so see if you can play with that. Play with the shoulders. Don't let the body sink into the ground. And to do that, you want to push the hips high and back. And in that big sway that you can get in your back, bend the knees and see if you can even touch the belly toward the thighs. So in that way, we're getting a big back extension, putting space between the vertebrae in the front of the spinal column. Let's take a big breath in here through the nose. And as we exhale, let's just sigh it out. Now invite those two muscles, the belly muscle and the pelvic floor. And then as we exhale, we're going to rise up on the balls of both of our feet, sink down low, look forward, and then we're just going to walk to the top of the mat. Now this is a place where you can take use of your first block if you want to, placing it onto the floor. Notice that my knees are bent here. With an inhale, I'll come to a half bend. In doing that, I bend my knees even more so that I can tip my tailbone up. I'm going to keep my hands as low as I can. Perhaps they're on your thighs. That's okay too. Or some people will press them into their shins. As I do this, I broaden the space between my shoulders and I gaze past the tip of my nose, not cranking my neck back, but drawing it back and trying to push my shoulders apart as I press them down toward the base of the rib cage. We're not trying to collapse the body onto itself. We're trying to just press the heart forward. As you exhale, again, you can place the hands back onto the block or blocks if you want. But what you're trying to do is to get your body to the lowest point it can. Keep those legs soft, please, no matter what, soft, pressing the heart toward. Now soften your neck, keep the belly tight, open your eyes and gaze between the legs. Those legs will always be soft. This is now your first version of, and it will continue to change, of your Uttanasana or forward fold. With an inhale, lift halfway up, still with the knees quite bent, tipping that tailbone. And as you exhale, you can drop your bottom down, shifting your bottom weight into the ankles, and then shift the heart weight over top of the hips. And then from there, stand up safely, sweeping the arms overhead. And we'll take the arms up, and we'll gaze up, taking a little bit of a backward extension here. I'm not collapsing into my lumbar back. In fact, what I'm doing as I draw my shoulders down is I'm lifting my sternum up and lifting that sternum toward the ceiling. So I'm not just dropping back here and bending my legs. I'm keeping them soft to help to lift out of the joints. But it is really in the thoracic back that I'm taking my work. As I exhale, I can then waterfall forward. So let's all just waterfall forward with hands at heart center. Again, you might put your hands on the block, the thighs, the shins, or maybe even touch into the floor. With an inhale, soften the knees a lot. Lift the heart away from the ground in a half fold. Gaze past your nose. Exhale, plant the hands and step back 1 foot at a time. We're going to lower the knees here and bring the heart down as we level out the hips from the high to low plank. Whenever your knees are on the ground, this is a commitment to put your chest, your heart on the ground. With an inhale, I'm going to press my hands into the floor and lengthen my arms a little bit, going from a half cobra into an early cobra. So this is going to always be pushing that pelvic bone into the floor and then cupping the belly and then making sure there's no compression in the spinal column. My back is not super flexible to go in that direction, but it will improve in a few moments. As I exhale then, I turn my gaze down, press my knees into the floor, lengthen the arms completely, one body coming up with no hinge. Then as I continue to exhale, I'm just going to hinge at the back, letting my hips bend tightly, and then lift my knees off the floor, coming into downward facing dog. Let's take a breath or two here. Breathing in and out. In and out. Let's take a breath in here and draw all the energy into the body and see if you can draw the pelvic floor and that low belly in as well. And now as we exhale, holding that, we want to then take the body up to the top of the mat, walking or taking a singular step. So you choose what feels right to you. Still have the knees bent, still using the block or the hands on the shins or the thighs, or maybe on the floor with fingertips. Inhale immediately and lift the back halfway toward the ceiling, tipping the tailbone. This is your version of the half fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, your version of the Uttanasana, the forward fold. Knees still soft, belly still tight. Inhale, drop the bottom weight down just to realign the weight of the body. And then stand up tall, sweeping the arms overhead. Gaze up between the hands, palms facing in. Draw the shoulders down. Lift the sternum up. Take a little bit of extension, predominantly into the thoracic body. Soften your knees, please. And exhale, we're going to waterfall forward again. Lengthen the torso as you come down. Try and hinge at the hips so it is truly a fold, that it's not crunching in or rolling into itself. Lengthening the back, you then want to continue to lengthen, gaze between the legs, your version of, remember, bent knees. Inhale, flat back, half up, hands on blocks, shins, thighs, or perhaps floors. Exhale, planting the hands, we'll step back. And now I'm going to do one of these with my toes. So as I lower down from high to low push-up, the low push-up posture is the chaturanga. With an inhale, tops of feet pressed into floor. I like to lift my whole body away and then lift my heart. So I'm not concentrating on dropping the hips. What I'm doing is I'm pressing the sternum, the heart bone, toward the ceiling, taking the gaze up with the heart. Squeezing the buttocks tightly, lots of force into the tops of feet. There's nothing soft in this posture. And rather than letting yourself sink down, some people think that that's an up dog or that that's a cobra. That's what it is a lack of muscle engagement. So you want to push away from the ground, push the shoulders back and down, And then as you exhale, if you come from your toes, I love coming up into the high plank with the tops of feet in, hinge at the hips, curl the toes back under, soften the knees, and press back into downward facing dog. Let's take a deep breath in. And exhale. How did that feel? So regardless of what you're doing, breathing in and out here, just let it come and go. Healing breath is what I call it. Just take that moment to think, how is this landing on my body? What can I do to have better focus, to have better muscle engagement, and better control of the breath, that it is one breath with one movement, because that's ultimately how we're trying to move in Vinyasa. And so notice, can you move from one spot to the next, one posture to the next in one breath? Well, that's part of the beauty of the transition, isn't it? Let's take a nice big breath in, bring in the bandhas, please. That's the low belly and the pelvic floor, Uddiyana and Mula Bandha. We're going to rise up on the exhale on the toes, then press down so we strengthen the legs, and then step forward to the top of the mat or walk ourselves forward. Then with an inhale, soften those knees, heart comes away from the floor, broaden the shoulders, gaze past the tip of the nose, tailbone high. Exhale, fold as tightly as you can, laying your heart into the thighs, keep the back warm. Don't try and curl your head through and look at your bum. There's nothing to look at there. Inhale, drop the bottom down. Sweep the arms as you stand up, shifting the heart weight directly over the hips. Draw the shoulders down as you rise. Lift the sternum up. Soften the knees. Engage muscle here. You're not just falling backward. And as you exhale, we'll go through one more round. And if you like to, you can always extend the arms alongside the ears. It's more challenging for the back. Lay that long back into position. Let the head rest low with a lazy neck. Then inhale, flat back, half up. Bend the knees along here. Look what I've done. I put my hands flat on the floor, but I'm really, really bending deeply into my knees. Then I peel away from the floor with my palms of hands. Gaze past the tip of my nose as I broaden my shoulders and try to find that tip. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Everyone's postures look different. I'll lower myself on my knees here, lowering myself down into the heart commitment to the floor because the knees are on the floor. Now on this one, I'm going to take it as a cobra. I'm going to inhale and I'm going to press the tops of my feet hard, and I'm not going to let my back, especially my lower back, feel any compression here as I push my shoulders down. I lift my heart. Exhale. I'm simply going to lift the hips away, find that plank body, hinge at the hips, curl the toes under, and then lift the hips high while I press that tailbone toward the wall and ceiling behind me. I play in my feet. I place them so that they're comfortable for my hip girdle. You don't want to have your feet stuck together. Listen to what your hips are saying. Now we'll take a breath in and out. So now we're going to move forward into the sun salutation B. So we've completed the A, now we want to move into the B. That's going to warm up our hips a little bit more. With an inhale, fill the body with energy. As you exhale, we're going to rise up, sink down, step to the top of the mat. That one solid breath. Inhale, flat back, half up. As you exhale, again, take that tight fold, press your, I like to think of peeling something off the floor, peel it onto your legs, right? Then inhale and drop the bottom down. Try and get the knees as soft as possible, but don't collapse against your calf muscle, and then sweep the arms up, coming into chair. Now, you don't want to take your body forward in chair and have your heart looking down. This will put a lot of pressure into the knees. If you can pull your body back, tuck the tailbone slightly, lift the pelvic floor. It's not about squeezing the bottom. Lift the pelvic floor and draw the low belly back. You might even be able to take your toes off the ground. That will ensure that you're not onto those toes. And then you sweep the arms up. Maybe you're a little higher than someone else. It doesn't matter. It matters that it fits your body. Just fit you. Do your best with what you've got. Then exhale. We're going to fold the body forward. I love to bring my hands down first, and then placing the hands down on the floor, I'm going to hold the hands there and lengthen my legs. Now, maybe my legs only come to here, all right? Maybe that's what happens, and it comes to here. Well, then that's what you have as your Uttanasana. Mine go a little bit longer than that, but what I will not do is I will not lock my legs. I let my neck become lazy, my head becomes heavy, and the gaze between, but the belly is tight here. Belly is tight. Then with an inhale, I'll try to keep my fingertips on the floor, bend my knees as much as I need to, and then I can tip that tailbone and broaden. So I'm still getting that work into the hip, all that up and down, but we're going to move further now. And we're going to step back into our chaturanga. I'll do this one modifier, dropping my knees down. And I'll lower my heart toward the floor, commitment of knees to heart, yes? Then with the inhale, I'll take my heart away. And this one, I'm just going to do it as a cobra half. So that's the baby cobra, Ardha Bhujangasana. As I exhale, I lengthen my arms. My heart rate is already forward. I'm going to take that body away in a full plank, curl my left toes under, step my right foot forward, then pivot and anchor my trailing foot. Now, I want to immediately check my base and think, that's looking pretty tight. Would you rather have it be wider, meaning wider apart for the feet? If you would, just toe heel the forward foot over. It's easier than, right? You don't really have that kind of transition time in this posture when you're using one breath. By now we've already gone through 17 breaths, right? Keep as low as you can into the forward leg, and then release the ground. We're going to inhale and sweep our arms up, draw our shoulders down, and lift the heart as we sink. So it's all about opposition of forces. Much of yoga is opposition of forces. Rise, fall, push, pull. As we exhale, I'll bring my hand down, and I'm going to modify this one as well, and I'm going to show a different way to get into the posture in a modification. Knees commit the heart, lower down. There we go. There's the chaturanga. Then with the inhale, again, just because I'm showing different opportunities here, I'll do this one as a cobra, half, right? There it is. No hands, no arms. Exhale. I'm going to lift my body away, move back as though I was going into child's pose, hinging at the hips. I'll curl the right foot under, and then I'm going to step my foot forward. If it doesn't get all the way to where I want it to, I'm going to pick my leg up, and I'm just going to move it there. Then when I'm rising up, I'll lift the knee off, take a little step forward, a little skadooch forward with that trailing leg. Then I pivot and anchor, sink into the forward leg, and sweep the arms up as I sink down. Draw the shoulders back and down as you lift the gaze and heart up. Exhale, plant the hands, gently lower the knee, bring the leg back, knees commits hips. There we go. Now I'll take this one as a cobra. Tops of feet pressed, scoop out the belly. Try to press the shoulders back and down. The gaze is forward as you lift the heart. Exhale, press the knees into the floor. Come back, hinging. So I'm doing this from the low posture, which I love doing. Curl the toes under. Now, as you bring that belly onto the thighs, this is my favorite part of this. You press those hands into the floor. Then, scratching my nose on the mat. That's sexy. So now, I'm going to press my hands hard into the floor, palms pressed in, fingers wide, and lengthen the legs and try and keep my belly attached as long as I can to that thigh. So as I do that, I'm getting a really nice deep scoop or extension in the back. And if you might take a moment just to look at the screen, you're going to see that my hands, fully engaged like starfish, plumped onto something, suction cupped down into my mat. But also, look at the angle of the hand, wrist, and forearm. It's very flat. This helps to lessen pressure into the wrist. We often hear about complaints of, oh, my wrists are killing me. And until we learn how to sort of place our body in a balance where it really respects the joints, we're trying to sort out how to rise out of joints and lessen pressure downward into joints. This really helps. Let's take a nice big cleansing breath in and out. So just breathe in deeply here. And then exhale it out. Doesn't that feel good? Now on the inhale, draw that Mula Bandha and the Uddiyana Bandha. Draw the pelvic floor and the lower belly locks in. Then on the exhale, we'll rise up again in the balls of both feet. Exhale, sinking down. And then we're going to step to the top of the mat. With an inhale, we'll lift halfway up. Again, the knees are soft here. You're going to try and keep your hands as low as possible. We're now not just warming up the back, but also the hips. As we exhale, we're going to take that fold forward, really try and push the body into it by pressing with the muscles of the back of the body so the heart comes to the thighs. And use the muscles in the front of the body to pull the body to the thighs. Tighten that belly. Inhale, drop the bottom down. You'll notice that my feet are hip bone distance apart. And then I'm going to sweep my arms up, pull the low belly in, tuck the tailbone slightly. You may not be as low, you may be lower than me. Exhale, I'm going to bring my heart onto my thighs, lay my hands down, Lengthen out my back. My neck is also included in that spinal column. I'm going to lift my bum up, keep the back long, not try and curl my neck in. Then with the inhale, lifting flat back, half up. Soften the knees more to afford that. If you lock your knees, you are risking your hamstrings. Don't do that. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. On this one, I'm going to do this from my toes and lowering down to that chaturanga posture. With an inhale, switching to the tops of the feet, and then lifting away first, then lifting the heart. I like to try and kind of separate so that the transition honors the strengthening of the back. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. As you exhale, you're going to lift your hips away. Look where your heart is. Your weight is really forward here. Curl the toes of the left foot under. Step the right foot. Anchor the left heel, sink into the forward right knee. Then on that very next inhale, you sweep the arms up. Don't throw them. Place them. And then exhale. You're coming out of your warrior. Then if you're on the toe, if you want to, you can drop the knee certainly. Or you can take the leg back, lower down, leveling out the hips. I like to put one foot on the other. Then change the feet. Inhale. There's the lift. The heart. Exhale. Curl the right toes under. Step the left foot forward. Rearrange your right heel down, angled, sink. Inhale, come into your warrior. Vinyasa, just like that. Exhale, bringing the hands down. Now here's another way to come out of that single leg. I'm going to sweep my leg over, put the top of the foot down as I shift my body weight. Other top of foot, definitely more challenging. That's level 2, I guess. Come to the chaturanga. Then on the inhale, lengthen, push away. Lift the heart. Just maintain control of the hips. Push the heart up to the ceiling. Squeeze the buttocks tight. And exhale. We're going to lift the hips away. Hands at the hips. Curling the toes under. Come back to downward facing dog. You go, well, that was work. I know. It was work. No question about it. And that's why I can remind you, I think I did say that downward dog is in fact a rest posture. You're going, oh, sure, smart bum. You know, you smart ass. Well, I shouldn't swear like that, should I? Smart aleck. There we go. Apologies if I offended anyone. So now we're just going to take a nice big cleansing breath in and out. Here we go. Breath in. Let it all go. Loosen it all out. In again. Now, take that breath in, collect your bandhas, lift that pelvic floor, pull that low belly in, press away from the ground. As you exhale, we're going to lift up on the balls of the feet, then sink down into a bent knee, and then step or walk to the top of the mat, landing quietly with an inhale. We immediately lift our back toward the ceiling, pulling half fold. Exhale, press the heart, keep the back long, don't drop the head to look at your bottom, look through to the wall behind you. Then with an inhale, we'll drop the bottom down, and we'll run our last view through the sun B. Coming into chair, tip the tailbone under, gaze is up or forward, try and draw the shoulders back and down. Exhale, you could lengthen the legs and bring the hands down. I like to get my hands down as soon as possible, try and keep that neck relaxed. Then inhale, flat back, half up, bend those knees. You might only be on 1 or 2 fingertips here. That's okay. Flatten out those shoulders, broaden them. Then exhale, plant the hands, step back, and I'm going to play through all kinds of modifications. On the first one, I'm going to drop both my knees down, commit my heart all the way down. Tops of feet pressed. Inhale. I'll take this one as a half cobra. Then exhale. I'm going to press my body back onto one knee, curling the left foot under. Step my right foot forward by shifting my hips back. Take that power. Push it forward, just remove that right hand out of the way. Do you see my little cartwheeling arm? Whee! Then, from there, I'm going to inhale, lift my leg, on the trailing leg, pivot and anchor, and sweep my arms up, coming to my warrior one. As I exhale, I always like to place my hands to the instep side. On this one, I'm going to take my foot around, place it so it's a single leg chaturanga, lowering down. Then with the inhale, I'm going to press my body up, lift the heart, really try not to do it from hips dropping, but instead from the positive, upward facing dog. As I exhale, I'm going to lift my hip, lower it a knee, curl my trailing foot, pressing back. I'm then going to step my left foot forward, lift the knee, pivot anchor, center in. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, warrior one. Exhale, again placing the hands to the instep side of the body, come to the trailing ball of foot. I'm going to sweep my leg, single leg back, lower the hips so that they're in alignment with the chaturanga. Then I'm going to place my heart onto the floor. Why not? There's no rule. Then with an inhale, I'm going to take the cobra. I'm going to lengthen my arms, try to lift my heart, no compression in my spinal column. Exhale, I'm going to lift away the hips as I lengthen the arms completely. Then hinge at the hips, press my hips back, curl the toes under, place my belly against the thighs, dig my hands in tightly here, and then lift my legs and hips, keeping the knees bent, trying to press my belly toward the thighs. Does it feel like a rest posture now? Inhale. Exhale, let it all go. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to take an inhale as we exhale. Just simply lower the knees down and then flip the tops of the feet into the floor. Press back to a child's pose here. And if you want to, you can take the arms around the sides of the legs and lay the forearm, the back of the forearm is going, or the inside of the forearm will be looking toward the ceiling so that the palms are up. And you can just place your forehead into the mat. If you'd rather have your arms extended, you can. And in either case, you can roll your head from side to side, or if your arms are out of the way, you can shift the body from side to side. You can do that with the shoulders if they're extended, but remember, just try to relax the arms. Let the forearms rest into the ground one way or the other. Yeah? Now, we're going to do a little bit of flow work. This is just stringing some postures together so that we can notice how the body is responding. Single breath movement, so transition. Single breath, arrive in a pose to its deepest possibilities. And keeping our mind focused and trying to maintain single breath synchronized to movement. A lot going on in that. So let's keep the knees into the ground for the first bit of work. We're going to extend the arms a little further in front of us. So if you've nested your arms, sweep the arms around, place the palms into the floor. You're probably going to have to walk your feet away, or you're going to have to walk your hands forward. As we inhale, I'll walk my hands 2 palms forward, bringing my body into that modified plank. As I exhale, I'm going to lower my body all the way onto the floor. Then with an inhale, I will take a half cobra here. My arms are not involved in this. I'm pressing the pubic bone in, drawing the low belly back. As we exhale, we're going to look down. We're going to actually slide the body toward child's pose again. But first, extend the arms all on breath. Hinge at the hips. We're going to sweep our right hand back toward the right ankle or foot. The hips will come all the way back. The forward left hand is going to slide on the mat. Then, holding on to that back right leg or that right ankle or the right hip, we're going to take a half camel. What that means is we're going to put that left hand high and the right hand low. And as we do, we can then extend the arm up. And you'll notice that my body is rotating as it is in extension. Extension means it's bending backward and putting space into the front of the vertebral space. Then as we exhale, I'll realign the body so that my hips and shoulders are now going completely forward. And I'll lower my hips onto my heels. Then I'm going to take a nice inhale, slide forward into that modified plank once again. As we exhale, let's lower the heart down. Take a half cobra again, push the pubic bone and lift the belly away as you pull the heart away from the floor, tops of feet pressed. Exhale. You're going to lift the whole body up, let the knees be resting in the floor. Then hinge at the hips, bring the left hand back toward the left ankle. Then on the inhale, you're going to press your legs out, coming into a kneeling position. If you can, hold on to the heel or the ankle, great. If you feel insecure in that, take the hand, shift it onto that side of the body that is being sort of the one holding a lot of the weight, and let the body be pressed into the posture, feeling the support of that that left hand into that lanky, flanky area. As we exhale, we're going to bring the hands down once again, but then we're going to inhale, come forward into that plank once more. As we exhale, we're going to lower the torso down. With an inhale, let's press up. So we're going to bring the hands back ever so slightly, hinging at the hips to all fours. With that inhale, you're then immediately going to extend, and I don't like how far I brought my hands back here. We're going to extend the right arm up, gaze up. As you exhale, we're going to thread through. Keep your left arm straight and try to bring your right shoulder right into that soft area, the soft skin that exists on the inside of your elbow, and look toward the space that you're reaching to. This is a wonderful way to get some work into the upper back as well as the mid-torso. This is where the rotation is primarily happening. Back through the thoracic spine and the lumbar. You can't rotate the hips exactly. Well, you can, but you're not rotating the sacrum within it, and that's the vertebra. Take another inhale. We're going to lift that hand high. Gaze up at it. As we exhale, we can swim stroke that hand forward, place our hips down. Now with an inhale, we're going to come once again forward into that modified plank. Just enjoy that movement. Lower the body down. Remember, each of these is strengthening our body. So I know it's hard, I do know. With the inhale, we take it into the half cobra, no hands used at all. Scoop the belly. As you exhale, push back toward child's pose, lifting the whole heart away, hinging at the hips. We're going to sweep the hand around to the left side. Here we go. Inhale, let's rise all the way up in that half camel. We're going to start stringing it all together now. Exhale, sweep the hands back as though you're going into your child's pose. With an inhale, simply come forward into the all fours now, sweeping the left hand up, gaze up at the hand. Notice that my hand is reaching to the ceiling, not back towards my bum. So my hand is here, and I'm going to keep that right arm straight as I level out my shoulder, and then I'm going to reach across. I bend my left arm to make the reach, keep my right arm straight, try to bring my left shoulder to the inside elbow of the straightened arm, in this case the right. Then inhale, I'm going to draw back, open up the heart to the center of the room, see the arm gazing up, exhale, place the hand down or swing stroke the arm down, come back into child's pose. Then inhale, come into the forward plank, please. This is all floor work right now. Exhale, lower the heart down. I'll take the first one here as a cobra now. Inhale, I'm going to push a little further away. Press the body into position. Don't let it fall there. Exhale, lift the hips away. Press the body back. Sweep the right hand back, please. As you sweep the right hand back, either choose for hip, flank, or ankle. Inhale, press the hips forward as you do. Gaze up at the downward facing left palm. There's your half camel. Exhale, bring both hands down, drawing back. Slide the hands forward, please. Come to the high plank with your knees on the floor. Exhale, lower all the way down. We're going to choose the cobra here. If you'd rather stay with the half cobra, do. As we inhale, think about no compression in the back. Do not let that happen. Push the shoulders back and down. Lift the heart. Toss the feet pressed. Exhale. Lift the hip away, lengthening the arms. Exhale, pressing back, still the same. Exhale, bring that left hand back. Here we go. Sweeping up, inhale, lifting. Exhale, bringing the hands back down. Here we go. Inhale, come to the all fours and lift the left arm up. Follow it with your gaze, turn your head. Exhale, reach through, bring that shoulder across. Keep that right arm straight. Really reach. Inhale, keep the belly tight through all of this. Keep the pelvic floor lifted. Be powerful and decisive. Exhale, swing the hand down. Press back to child's pose. Let's run it one more time. Inhale, I'm going to slide my hands forward. Come into the modified plank. Exhale, lower the torso down. Heart touches the floor. Inhale, choose either half cobra or cobra. We'll go with the cobra. Exhale, lift the hips away, press back, sweep the right hand back. Inhale, take the half camel right side, pressing the hips forward, gaze at the downward facing left palm. Exhale, bring both hands back down. Child's pose. Inhale, all fours, take the right hand up, extend, open the heart, take the gaze, rotate the head, palm is facing the wall. Exhale, sweep through, keep the left arm straight, bring that right shoulder to the left elbow. Inhale, extend the arm, lengthen it, keep it powerful. Find the rotation, not in the arm, but the torso. Exhale, swim stroke the arm down, placing the palm, child's pose. Inhale, slide the hands forward, modified plank. Look at you moving one breath, one movement. Exhale, lower the body down, heart to the mat. Inhale, I'll take this one as a half cobra, but you have the choice of either. Exhale, lift the entire body away, knees on the floor. Press the hips all the way back, same exhale, catch onto that left heel. Inhale, you're either placing the hand on the heel or on the flank, on the bum, whichever feels good. Exhale, cartwheel both hands down. Child's pose. Keep it in the child's pose here because now we're going to move into the all fours. Inhale, all fours. Lift the left arm. Track it. Exhale, thread through, reaching. Bring that left shoulder across to the right inside elbow, that soft tissue area. Then inhale, we're going to extend, reach for one last time. Then exhale, swim stroke that hand down, palm down. Come into child's pose. And now if you would like to, you can just soften the arms, take your child's pose here, or you can nest the arms, let the arms sort of wrap around your lower legs so the palms are facing up. And let the shoulders roll in and around the thighs. You might want to tip the head, rolling it from side to side, or shift the body weight. When we rock our head this way, that gentle pressure, that movement, releases endorphins. And those help to make us very happy. We should do that more often, but you can't really do that in the middle of a meeting in the boardroom, right? All of a sudden you're thinking, I need to cut some of the stress. I need to find my happy spot. You suddenly find yourself on the floor, rocking from side to side in your child's pose. Security then is called to carry you away. But you don't care because your endorphins are raging through your body. Let's just bring those hands forward again. Place the palms down. As we come forward, place the forearms down into the floor. We're just going to take the back into a nice little extension here just to sort of counterbalance the child's pose. So as we do this, we can still lay our head down, or you might just want to hold the neck in relative neutrality. So you're not trying to crank that neck back. You can let it just rest lazily down as long as there's not a strain. Because the muscles in our neck, we have to be very careful with them. You can also use your block and just rest your forehead against it. Go grab the block and show you exactly what I mean. See how you have the front and back is always good because then you can just reach over and get it. So now there's no pressure downward on my neck. This block is simply holding my forehead with my neck in relative neutrality based on the shape of the spine that leads into the neck spinal column, or cervical spinal column. But you notice how with softening muscles you get a nice little sway to the back. The back is an extension. We're not trying to counter the neck from that. We're trying to include it in a fairly safe way. Now, for everybody, grab your blocks, please, and place it underneath your face. So if you're looking right down, there's your block right there. Turn your head now and just widen out the elbows and rest. Put my earring got in the way there. And rest your right cheek onto the block just for a little bit. The wider elbows, shift the weight back in the hips. Just push them back, so that now you're getting a nice little bit of stretch to the neck, to the side, moving into, and you should be able to feel this also down into the left upper back, right by your shoulder blade, okay, your scapula. So it's on the inside of the shoulder area, but it is not included in the spinal column, right? So it's a muscle that moves from the very base of the skull out to around the middle of the inside edge of the scapula. Then walk your elbows in again. You're going to roll onto your forehead. Don't use your neck to push. Use the arm weight to lift. And then as you start to lay the side of your left side head into the floor, walk the elbows out. Allow the torso shape to change and let that beautiful block begin to press back. Remember, your elbows are there. They are holding the bulk of your weight, as are your hips over the knees. So you're not doing this and letting everything rest there. You're letting that gentle stretch be felt into the inside of both sides of the neck, and then on the right side, if your left side is pressed into the block, you're going to feel this moving down into the area between the spinal column and the center point of your scapula, your shoulder blade. That is working specifically with a muscle that a lot of us have problems with. That is the levator scapulae. It is the thing that helps us to turn our head and hold the head in the upright position. But our lifestyle of looking down on computers and onto our smartphones or tablets, or looking down at our puzzles on the table, whatever it is that we're doing, our head is being held forward, and it draws a lot of tension in those neck muscles, in particular the levator scapula. Another nice breath in here. And then just let it go. On the next inhale, walk the elbows closer to the block so that there's no pressure on the head. You're going to lift the head off the block, turn and change the posturing. Walk your body away from the block by walking the elbows back. Remove the block, and then we're just going to lower our body down onto the mat, shifting one hip down or the other, it doesn't matter which. And I would tell you that if you're coming into your final Shavasana and you're thinking, oh, the thing in my hair, my bun, my elastic is bugging me, take it off now. If you don't have to do any of that up and down anymore, you're not worried about your hair getting into your face, then don't worry about it. Take it out. Let some of that tension go. You can imagine, when you've got for women who've ever had longer hair, having that hair pulled back for a long period of time, and the hair and the scalp tend to start to hurt. That moment when you take that ponytail out, or that bun, or whatever it is, the braid out, and you suddenly feel all the hair follicles moving in now their natural direction, rather than being yanked out of position to, affect some aesthetic to please us for whatever its purpose, to keep the hair in our eyes. But how good that feels to let the hair follicle and all the muscles in the scalp relax. We're doing the same thing now with the body. We're letting the whole body relax. So as you breathe in and out, let the body sink into the mat, noticing the weight of the body itself in all the places it connects. Your arms can be placed beside you, palms up, or you can rest the palms on your belly. Or I like to open my arms in a nice broad T with the palms facing up, and I just stretch out the space between my shoulder blades, giving that rhomboid muscle and the traps an opportunity to stretch. They are very much aligned with our posture. And a lot of my work, like the cobras, the half cobras in particular, all of those half folds, so much work in yoga is very much about postural muscles. And I'd like to say it's just the upper back, but it starts in the feet. So we try and miss nothing. Where do you feel your breath now? Let the breath just come and go as it pleases. No rhythm you're trying to support or direct. And notice the effect of the exhalation, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then the effect, physically, mentally, and emotionally, of the inhalation, recharging the body. Exhaling, discharging that energy. Now notice the quality of your thoughts. And perhaps they've slowed. They've prioritized into just noticing what's happening in the body and in that emotional space. That's good. That's really important that you're noticing you. Because when you notice you, you take care of you. If you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of someone else? And when you take care of you, you show someone that you matter. And in taking care of you, they learn that they matter too, and that they should take care of themselves. It's a circle, really, isn't it? Thank yourself for coming to the mat today. And then we begin to wiggle fingers and toes as we walk our feet toward our bottom. Turn the wrists if we like, and then we can sway the knees back and forth. And let the head roll away from the direction the knees are going. Just take that rotation a little further up so that the cervical spine and neck is also included in that. Nothing forced, just body's weight. And when you're ready, roll into the center of the room, using the arm that's going to rest on the floor as your pillow. I'm just going to move my little mic belt there out of the way. Yesterday I landed on it in a roll forward and back, right on my spine column. Did not make me happy. Place the hand from the top shoulder closest to the ceiling into the floor. Extend your top leg out to counterbalance the weight of the body. Press the body to halfway up. Draw the elbow under your shoulder. Take that moment, just a beat, to land in this space. And then lift the body all the way up to a seated position, making yourself comfortable, whatever that is for you. Legs crossed in front or extended, or perhaps sitting on one of your blocks. Whatever feels good. That's what matters. And lengthen the spine. That's the one movement we don't think of. We think of forward fold, extension, so that's flexion, extension, rotation, right, left, side, lateral movement, right, left. There's one more. Lengthen. And to do that, you want to lengthen all of it, especially the neck, especially the neck. So soften your jaw, pull it in towards your neck, and press the crown of your head, where your mohawk would be, right? Press your mohawk to the ceiling. You know, maybe you've got an inner mohawk. Who knows? Maybe you've got a straight line part. Find the center line, right through the center line of the head, as though you'd be cut in two pieces. Press that to the ceiling. Not the crown to the forehead, nor the back of the head looking down. Lengthen the neck by drawing the chin or jaw slightly in. Bring the hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're well and you continue to be well. And I look forward to seeing you the next time at Karen Roar Yoga. Until then, namaste. Bye, guys.